This set of irons that I have in my bag today is everything that is wrong with the golf industry. And it's not the actual make themselves. So I've hit that pitching wedge 140 yards. Again, this just annoys me because it's an extra cost to a beginner golfer that really shouldn't be having to fork out that kind of money. Guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. So I'm down here at Sandford Springs Golf Club. It's a bit fresh this afternoon. Obviously, I'm literally the only one out here, as it's probably about to get dark, but it's just enough time for me to start filming with these here Titleist T300s. Now, I haven't actually hit a full set of these before. I think I did a review probably about 2, maybe 3 years ago. I think these came out in 2019 when they changed it up from the AP setting. And this set in particular is what's wrong with the golf industry. We've got 8 clubs here, and it's not the actual irons themselves, because actually I really like the head design. Like, I've absolutely nutted that 4-iron probably about 230 yards uphill on the par 5 down here at Sandford. So it's a monster, but it's a monster for me. Whoever got these built, because they've all got the same serial number, so Titleist, when they do a club fit and they custom build them, they engrave all the clubs with the same serial number. So I know these have been custom fitted for someone, but who and why? Because it was a mistake. So let me do some explaining, because what I have here is what a manufacturer or club fitter or anyone in the golf industry would label as a beginner golf club, mainly because they are big, they are chunky, they are super forgiving, and they're going to help you on those off-center hits, and also they're going to give you quite a bit of distance because these are de-lofted, and these are extremely de-lofted. We're talking 7-iron, 29 degrees. This set even has a pitching wedge and is labeled at 43 degrees and a gap wedge included at 48 degrees. And for you guys that might be starting the game and don't know, typically if we go back to the traditional Loft back in there, 48 degrees is where a pitching wedge should be. So somehow, somewhere, we have now added an extra club into the set. And again, I'm not disputing the actual heads themselves. They are very good. They are monsters. They are super forgiving. The club design, the technology, I like. However, why on earth has someone been fitted into 4 to pitching wedge, steel, regular, plus a gap wedge in this set? So let me tell you this first big problem of this set, which the person that probably bought these and got club fitted for these whenever that was, probably found himself and did, and I've kind of got a bit of proof, because the gap wedge in this set isn't the same serial number as all the others. And after hitting that 7-iron in the sim and going, oh my god, I hit the 7-iron 170 yards, and go, yes please, 4 to pitching wedge soon arrived, and he got on the golf course. However, the pitching wedge, which actually I'm going to hit now, probably went 130, 120 yards plus, easily, because it's lofted at 43 degrees. Then you put in a Vokey or Cleveland or whatever it might be at the bottom there at 52, 50 degrees, and it only goes 70 or 80 yards. Therefore, not only has this person probably had to spend close to £900 from 4 to pitching wedge at 120, 130 pounds per club, they've then had to spend another £120 plus just to fill the gap with a pitching wedge. Okay, it is a gap wedge, but it's got the same loft of what an original pitching wedge would have been. Again, this just annoys me because it's an extra cost to a beginner golfer that really shouldn't be having to fork out that kind of money. Right, par 4, 281 yards, 17th down here at Sandford. Let's hit pitching wedge and see exactly what kind of yardage we have left. Now, there is a place for these irons in the golf industry, and when I have my simulator set up and we have the second club fitting room or office or building or warehouse, depending how successful it goes, I will be fitting for these particular irons, but they will not be called beginner irons. And this is the problem that I have. That gentleman that spent well over £1,000 on these T300s would have more than likely outgrew them in a year. Let's say 2 years with a few lessons and practice, and all of a sudden that person that potentially fitted them the first time round, or potentially he's gone somewhere else, all of a sudden he now thinks, I'm a better player. I want a forged iron set. I want something a bit sleeker. I want a bit more of a blade. I want a bit more control. Therefore, he's shelled out £1,000 plus on his irons. He's had to get another wedge in just to gap it, and then a year, maybe 2 years later at best, he's then having to shell out another £1,200 on a player's iron. And it's this constant upgrade and updating of that egotistical level of ball striking that's just absurd to me. These are great irons, very forgiving, very powerful. My pitching wedge, I've got 150 yards here, so therefore that's gone 140 yards. I'll laser it in a minute. They're phenomenal, but they're not beginners. They're your retirement set. Okay, apologies for the unsteady hand, but let's laser 130 yards bang on, so 270. So I've had pitching wedge 140 yards and it's 0 degrees, meaning that I probably would hit it about 150 yards if there's about 20 degrees here at the moment. So I'm 130 yards out, and potentially I can't actually use the wedge that I hit off the tee, meaning that I probably need that 40. Okay, some of you hit wedges a really long distance, most golfers don't. How does this benefit myself? Well, I'm gonna tell you, if I had the decision at a lot of these places, which I wouldn't because obviously they would lose a lot of money, you wouldn't be able to get a 4-iron in this set. You potentially wouldn't even be able to get a 5-iron in this set. You wouldn't even be able to get steel shafts in this set. This set for me would be great for a senior golfer. Graphite shaft, starting at the 6-iron, going all the way down to the gap wedge, and then you have a hybrid one side and you have a few wedges at the bottom, and that's it. 4-iron in this set just doesn't make sense to me, because if you're able to hit and get the ball up in the air with a 20-degree steel 4-iron, then your club head speed and your ability is way too advanced for this iron set. With a few lessons, that will sort out your dispersion, and therefore you don't need the chunkiness, the forgiveness, everything else that comes with it. I did miss the green, but it is pin high. And then the same thing should be going with the shafts. Anytime, I mean, these are regular flex, so I guess that's better, but anytime I see like a T300, or I see a Callaway Big Bertha, or let's say a Ping G425 Max, those G700 big multi-compacts, cavity back, whatever you want to call them, hybrid irons with a stiff flex in it, I'm just utterly baffled for the player that should be using them, because in 6 months time, 8 months time, what they're trying to sort on the day or trying to cure with money would just be resolved with a couple of lessons. These iron heads are fantastic, ultra forgiving, ultra powerful, and would be great for a person in their 60s looking for that brand new custom fit set that's gonna basically take them to their last day of golfing. But it should start at the 6-iron and it should finish with that 48-degree wedge, and they should all have graphite shafts in them. Now Titleist irons themselves hold their value very well. Actually one of the best, I'd say Mizuno alongside them in terms of second-hand value is fantastic, and I would say Titleist, as well as obviously their golf balls, are pretty much known for their irons. So if you were to buy a second-hand set of these T300s or T200s or T100s, you're going to get quite a decent amount of money when you come to resell them, or even if you went to go and get a club fit for them. But again, I'm looking at this set and potentially the resale value. How many people want a full set of T300s? Yes, they might want a 4-iron and a 5-iron in the T300, but then they'll probably want a combo set of T200s and T100s going down the set. But a full lot of hyper launching muscle back, not even muscle back, but cavity back irons, I just can't see there being that many golfers out there for them, and that's why I think the whole set in themselves has just been club fitted poorly. Obviously one of the biggest jobs as a club fitter, as you only have a 7-iron to go from, and the information of the golfer is to then go set makeup, go what woods do you have in the bag, what wedges do you have in the bag, where are we filling these gaps? And to be honest, this particular sale just sounds like they were trying to get as much money as they possibly could. Here's the distance, here's the forgiveness. Let's put 7 clubs in the bag, and if you need to, come back and get a 48-degree gap wedge. Right guys, there's my daily rant. I'll try and keep it a bit more positive. Not that I'm not keeping it positive, but the reason I want to make these kind of videos and I want you guys to be aware is you don't potentially make the same kind of mistakes. By all means, go and get the big cavity back irons, but I'd rather you go and get fitted for those towards the end of your golfing career, not the beginning. And if the cavity back iron, the big chunky ones, are actually the best performing iron you've ever hit, well then you're probably not needing a club fit. You're probably needing a few more lessons, and you could probably go and get a set of AP1s, 716s for a fifth of the price, and they're going to do exactly the same job until you get to the consistency and club head speed and dispersion that you need. And then by that time you won't be needing these beginner cavity back irons. Guys, if you like this video, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new. Catch you guys there.